just as I thought, I'm back the next day and I've completed 4 sets of these pages now. So I'll just give you a quick flick through of what it looks like, and I've tried to group them together. So I've got the women on this one, and then it starts with the children, and I go through the children there. Then, well, the girls, I should say. Then I go on to the boys, and the boys are there. And then I go on to the men. And then I go on to like the couples and groups. So I started with the children first, then continued on with the adults, and finished with the adults. So they're all sorts of little groups. But you can see now that you can see through the vellum as to what they're actually doing. So I can see that these ladies are sitting down. So I don't need to pull this big one out to see what it is that they're doing. I can actually see that they're sitting from the ones that are at the front here. Just makes it easier to see. So next thing I need to do is make my cover. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to use my Amazon packaging. So this is one of the smaller ones. It's an A1 size. And I'm going to use 2 of those, one for the cover and one for the spine, just to give it a little bit of extra support. So I need to work out the measurements now. Now I know that these are 6 inches square, so that's easy enough to remember. So I want the cover on the front and on the back just fractionally bigger. So I'm going to make that 6 1/4 inches. Now to work out the spine, all right, this is the folded edge. This is where the spine is. And if I pinch them together, it's not going to take up much room. But it makes this end splay out. So I want to get an overall view of what measurement I need. So if I pinch it together in the middle and then get my rule, I can see that I'm going to need about a 1.5, 1 1/4, 1.5 inch wide spine. So I'm going to cut off all this excess card here where it's folded over and glued down, and cut it to 6 1/4 inch high, and then we'll go from there. Okay, here's my piece cut. I did it off camera because I had to get my big Bertha trimmer out, and she rocks the table a lot when I'm cutting. So just to sort of reiterate, this is 6 1/4 inch in height. And then I put the piece onto my score pal, and I measured 6 1/8 inch in and scored, and then measured 6 1/8 inch in and scored, so that I've got this area here now as my spine, which is 1.5 inches wide. So perfect as a cover for the pages. Now, one of the things I've got to remember is that this area here, this centre part, is where the natural fold of the envelope was made, like that. So if I stand it up, even though I burnished where I want my spine to be, this natural fold keeps bending in. So that's what I want the other envelope for, is I want to cut off some scraps. I could even use it from the bits that I've cut off that are the leftovers, and in fact I'll probably do that. And I'm going to cut it just fractionally narrower. So this was 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to cut 2 spine pieces 1 1/4 inches wide. One to stick on this side and one to stick on this side. And it will give that spine the extra support, and it will prevent that kink happening from where the envelope was naturally folded. So I'm going to go off and go and cut those and stick them on, and then I'll come back. has that now all glued in place, and if I bring it up close you might be able to see that there is a slight gap between the piece that I've stuck on and the fold line, and the same on that side, and it's the same on the inside as well. Now I could just cover this all in one piece if I had a big enough piece of paper, but obviously a 12 by 12 won't cut the mustard. So what I've decided to do is stick a panel on the front and the back, on the outside as well as on the inside. And again, I'm using up those 6 by 6 squares from the paper pads. This one was from Wildflowers. Can't remember which one those two are from. And I've inked up around the edges. Now, because of the size of the cover, obviously the 6 by 6 papers are fractionally smaller, but it just does leave just a small border all the way around. And I'm going to glue this piece on, well, all the pieces on. So there's the fold line, look. Bring it up closer so you can see. So I'm going to butt it up next to the fold line, but not on the fold line, and then leave that border around the 3 sides. Okay, so we'll get those glued on. And then I've also cut some strips. Again, I think that this was from Wallflower. Hang on, let me check. Yeah, Wallflower. I was thinking it might be called Wildflower. And I've cut these to 2 inches wide so that it extends beyond the spine area, so it'll go onto the front and the back cover. So I haven't cut them to height, because I always find that when I do that, they're then the wrong size. So I thought I'll glue this in place first, and then we'll go from there. So get some glue on the spine area. And also down the side where that piece of card starts and finishes. And then on the back side of the spine area, I'm just going to put some glue along that edge and along this edge. And I'll also do across the bottom as well. Make sure I've got plenty of glue on that. And then centralising it roughly, I'm going to line it up with the bottom. And then I'm just going to use my bone folder to just find out where that piece of board finishes. Put a little bit of a crease in there. And the same on this side. So if I run it across, it'll suddenly dip down. And then I can cut off the excess. And again, I'll just go over that again. Now everyone has a tendency at this point to pick up their cover and fold it. I would say wait until your glue dries, and this is where doing this with the bone folder really helps, because it's breaking down the fibres in the paper so that when you fold it, hopefully she says, it shouldn't crack. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the same on the other side. And then I'm going to put it to one side and just leave it to dry for a little bit. So what I'll then do is I'll go around and I'll ink all the way around, both the outside and the inside, and I'm just going to leave that glue to just dry for a bit. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've left that about sort of 5-10 minutes, and just going to reinforce that crease again, just either side. And then I'm just going to fold it very slowly so that the paper won't crack. Well, it has cracked a little bit there. But if I put some ink on it, you won't know. And then from the inside, just creasing it again, making sure that that paper has got contact with the glue. And we'll do the same with this one. Just fold it very gently. And again, just on the inside. Push it with the folder, bone folder. And then I'm just going to ink up, and I'm using my walnut stain just along those crease marks there. As it dries more, it'll bend a little bit easier. So that will be my little cover all made. Now I need to add those pages. For the binding, I'm actually going to use this, my last bit of this green twine, but I also like to use sometimes this 0.8mm clear elastic as well, because it's quite nice and thick and strong. But in this instance I'm going to use the twine, and I'm going to start on the outside. Now then, normally I would wrap this around and then add the pages afterwards, but because I've already got my paper dolls in, because I'm a bit of a numpty, I'm going to have to wrap it around the page at the same time. So let's see if I can do this. So I've got a nice long tail here at the bottom, which I'll use for finishing it off at the end. And then I can put my page in and wrap it over the centre fold, and then wrap it around the spine. And again, next page, open it up down that spine, fold it over, wrap it around the spine again. I can pull it in tighter in a bit so that I can get it all nice and even. Okay, and now all those pages are in place, I can start to just rearrange it all a little bit and pull it in so that it's all a bit tighter. and just space them out evenly. Now they won't stay as nice and even as you get them. They will move. Oh, I've still got a bit left. Woohoo! Hey up, one of my lads is escaping. Okay. They're all nicely attached in there. I think I've got some more of my dolls are escaping. Yeah. That's because I had it upside down. Okay. Now, one's finishing on the right and the other one's finishing on the left. I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to tie them together in the middle, just with a simple knot. And then I'm going to wrap them, hope you can see this, by pushing all of those threads together and wrapping one over to the right hand side one underneath over to the left side, and the left hand side one underneath over to the right, so that it now gathers all those threads, and then I can tie it off. And again, just do another knot, and I'm going to come back to these threads in a bit. So what I thought I would do was, I've got this little girl here, isn't she cute? And I thought about sitting her on top of the butterfly. So we'll add her. I'm not doing anything fancy. Wrong one, Carol, that's nearly empty. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything fancy because, as I say, this is just for me, and I want it to sit on my shelf, and it needs to be for practical usage. But I don't want it, you know, I still want it looking nice. I just don't have to go overboard with it. And sometimes simplest is best. Okay, so that's her now perched on the butterfly. And then I also thought that I would use the packaging up as well. So I know that I want this piece off the back that says Paper Dolls, a gathering of clipped vintage portraits used in collage or mixed media. So let's get my paper trimmer out. Okay. And I thought it would be quite nice to have Mr. Tim's name on the front cover too. I might just have that like that. But if I layer it up with that bit to make it stand out, yeah, I might do that. And then with this little piece, what I was thinking of was do it a little bit longer, putting this on the spine. Then if I just snip it up the middle and then go from the corner to where I've just snipped it. This might be too long, but we'll have a look. We'll have a look and see. Oh no, that's probably about the right length. Maybe just a tad off that bend. Punch a hole. Now I haven't got any tiny metal eyelets, so I'm just going to have to leave mine punched, and then put the thread through there and just knot it again. I'm getting more fingers and thumbs. Just trim off a little of the excess. Then I'm using up the packaging. Because it's Mr. Tim's, of course, it all blends and matches. And that can sit on there. There she is, all done and dusted. Might just draw around the butterfly a little bit and the little girl. Might do some faux stitching on the front of that label. Otherwise, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And makes nice, easy access for all my paper dolls and to be able to find them all. And the other thing that I thought about as well was on the back of the packaging, there's the number and the barcode, so I thought I could cut those out and just stick them in the back, so that if I want to reorder them, I've got the number to hand as well. So I'm going to cut that out and just stick that in the back as well. And the other thing that I was thinking of doing was, I've got these lovely clips, and as you already know, if you watched the other video, I've separated them into the women and the girls and then the boys. So I thought I'd put one of these clips at the top, and then I can put a little label in so that I can easily find which one it is that I'm looking for. Hope you've enjoyed this project. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all again really soon. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and please share it with your friends if you think that they might be interested in this project, maybe for themselves. Bye for now. Bye.